Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Meilani Salsabila Irawan and I'm from TBI 1. So in this video, this is my final exam with the subject of phonology. So let's get started. Okay, so the first subject is speech sound classification. So in this subject, the first materials is phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is a branch of linguistics which is part of phonology. Phonetics is the study of how sounds are produced by humans using several body parts, such as lips, teeth, tongue, and pharynx. Phonology is a science that studies sound. The second material is the production of speech sounds. After the creation of the message and the lexicogrammatical structure in our mind, we needed a representation of the sound sequence and a number of commands which will be executed by our speech organs to produce the utterance. So we need a phonetic plan and a motor plan. After the mental operation, we come to the physical production of sounds. Speech then is produced by an air stream from the lungs, which goes through the trachea and the oral and nasal cavities. It involves four processes: initiation, phonation, oronasal process, and articulation. The third material is the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. The IPA is a group of French language teachers founded by Paul Passy. The aim of the organization was to devise a system for transcribing the sounds of speech which was independent of any particular language and applicable to all languages. Why do we need IPA? The IPA has often been used as a basis for creating new writing systems for previously unwritten languages. The fourth material is the phonemic chart. The following is the chart of the International Phonetic Alphabet, a standardized system of phonetic symbols devised and maintained by the International Phonetic Association. The fifth materials is consonants. Consonants are sounds which involve some constriction of the vocal tract during their articulation. The sixth materials is vowels. Vowels are sounds which are produced without any constriction of the vocal tract. So the second subject is English vowels. The first materials in this subject is describing and producing English vowels. It is defined as those sounds produced with oral cavity relatively open to the flow of air. Vowel sounds are produced by passing air through different shapes of the mouth, with different position of the tongue and the lips, and with the air stream relatively unobstructed by the narrow passages except at the glottis. The second materials is short vowels. Short vowels are vowel sounds pronounced in short form. The third materials is long vowels. Long vowels are that vocals usually pronounced longer than other vowels, usually around 1.5 to twice the length. The fourth materials is diphthongs. A diphthong is a sound made by combining two vowels, specifically when it starts as one vowel sound and goes to another. The fifth materials is triphthongs, a phonological unit consisting of three successive vocalic sounds in one syllable. The sixth materials is symbols and transcription. Phonetic transcription is the use of phonetic symbols to represent speech sounds. Ideally, each sound is a spoken utterance is represented by a written phonetic symbol. The transcription system will in general reflect the phonetic analysis imposed by the transcriber on the material. The third subject is English consonants. The first materials in the subject is place of articulation. The place of articulation is important in pronunciation because you must know where to produce sounds in order to pronounce them correctly. If you are not pronouncing a consonant correctly, it's probably because the place of articulation is not correct as you are pronouncing the sound. The second materials is manner of articulation. Manner of articulation is the how of making sounds. When learning our first language, we don't usually think about how we make the sounds we do. We just reproduce what we've heard over the first few years of our lives. The third materials is describing and producing English consonants. A consonant is a speech sound that is not a vowel. They are produced with a close articulation, going from completely together to only approximating. The fourth materials is voiced and voiceless. Voiced consonants require the use of the vocal cords to produce their signature sounds. Voiceless consonants do not. The fifth materials is fricatives and affricates, nasal, stops, glides, and liquids. Fricatives is a consonant that is made when you squeeze air through a small hole or gap in your mouth. Affricates start as stop sounds with air building up behind an articulator, which then releases through a narrow channel as a fricative. Nasal consonants are created when you completely block airflow through your mouth and let the air pass through your nose. Stop consonants occur when the vocal tract is closed completely. Glides and liquids. This name comes from the fact that the articulators are brought into closer contact or approximation than in any of the vowels. The fourth subject is English consonants, symbols, and transcription. So the first materials is symbol. Symbols represent the sound produced by organs of speech are called phonetic symbols. Phonetic transcription is the use of phonetic symbols to represent speech sound. The transcription system will in general reflect the phonetic analysis imposed by the transcriber on the material. The fifth subject is the syllable. So in the subject, the first materials is structure of the English syllable. A syllable is a single unbroken sound of a spoken or written word. Syllables usually contain a vowel and accompanying consonants. Syllables have eternal structure. They can be divided into parts. The parts are onset and rhyme. Within the rhyme, we find the nucleus and coda. Not all syllables have all parts. The smallest possible syllable contains a nucleus only. The second materials is strong and weak syllables. The stress is a major factor in determining whether a syllable is strong or weak. So these two types of syllables can be described in part in terms of stress since they are closely associated with this aspect. We could describe them partly in terms of stress by saying, for example, that strong syllables are stressed and weak syllables are unstressed. But until we describe what stress means, such a description would not be very useful. The third materials is weak forms. Weak forms are syllable sounds that become unstressed in connected speech and are often then pronounced as a schwa. The sixth subject is stress patterns. The first materials is stress timing. A stress-timed language is a language where the stress syllables are set at approximately regular intervals and unstressed syllables shortened to fit this rhythm. The second materials is stress in simple words. English word stress is probably best acquired by listening rather than by trying to learn the rules. However, word stress has a profound effect on intelligibility, and there are some rules which can help. The third materials is complex word stress. Complex words are of two major types. Number one, word made from a basic word form, which we will call the stem, with the addition of an affix. Number two, compound words which are made of two or occasionally more independent English words. The seventh subject is phonemic analysis. The first materials is phonemic analysis. Phonemic analysis is the process of analyzing a spoken language to figure out what its phonemes are, what the allophones are of those phonemes, and what each allophone's distribution is. The second materials is phonemic analysis. Problem. The first problem is the English vowel system. Second, syllabic consonants. Third, cluster of plosives. Fourth, schwa. Fifth, distinctive feature. The eighth subject is intonation. The first materials is definition of intonation. Intonation is primarily a matter of variation in the pitch of the voice. In such languages as English, it is often accompanied by stress and rhythm to produce meaning. The second materials is functions of intonation. Number one, the attitudinal function. Number two, the grammatical function. Number three, the focusing function. Number four, the discourse function. Number five, the psychological function. The ninth subject is aspects of connected speech. The first materials is rhythm. Rhythm is a form of structure that plays an organizing role in speech. The second materials is assimilation. Assimilation refers to the process through which individuals and groups of differing heritages acquire the basic habits, attitudes, and more of life of an embracing culture. The third materials is elision. The term elision describes the disappearance of a sound. The fourth materials is linking. The marvel where words or sounds are linked together. The fifth materials is liaison. Liaison refers to the linking of the final consonant of one word with the beginning vowel or vowel sound of the following word. The sixth materials is juncture. Juncture is the transition from one segmental phoneme to another. The seventh materials is contractions. Probably the most obvious and best thought features of connected speech in English are contractions. Okay, so the last subject is speech variation, accents. The first materials in this subject is variation in speech. Every language has a guide how two words must be arranged in order to give meaning. Every symbol of language contains something called meaning or concept. The second materials is accent is a language. Accent refers to different ways a language is spoken by either native or non-native speakers, accents are very important in how speakers express their identity and how they fit into some social groups while not fitting in with others. Among the over 1 billion speakers of English as a foreign language in expanding circle countries, where English is a classroom language but otherwise has no official governmental role, many distinct English accents exist. Okay, I think that is all of my explanation in this video. I'm sorry if there's any mistaken in this video, and thank you very much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.